Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, to your deciding game number 3 between Virtus.pro and Fnatic.EU, or Fnatic Raid Call, as they're also known. This is your loser bracket round 1 matchup. The loser goes home, will finish last out of these 4 teams who made it to the LAN finals, which would be a very disappointing result, something they'll both be looking to avoid. The winner moves on and has a tough road ahead of them. They got to face whoever drops down from the winners bracket finals between Na'Vi and Empire. That best out of 3 will be played a bit later today. I actually just received word it will be delayed by somewhere between an hour and a half from the originally scheduled time, which means after this game we'll have a bit of a break, time for you guys to get your popcorn, your coffee, your beers, wherever the hell in the world you are, whatever's appropriate for the time of day. More importantly though, I'm LD. I'm joined here by Merlini. And Merlini, once again, we see a Wisp ban.
And Batban last game Batban this game as well.
Yeah, it didn't really do a whole lot last game, but I guess Fnatic just don't want to give it away. They couldn't make much of it themselves though.
Shukuchi and Surge are both very good counters to the sticky napalm, just, you know, being a pain in the butt to deal with.
Yeah, and Weaver's not a hero that Fnatic will run. VP like it, they use it quite a bit. I think they're really the only team that's running Weaver on a regular basis right now. Across any scene, including Asian Dota as well as European and North American. But
yeah, they put it to pretty good use. He was able, like, after the first a few levels, he was just able to kill the Lone Druid, not even just keep him out of lane. So he was able to kill the Lone Druid with a couple level advantage early. They put him to very good use, especially with the Ion Shell. He has pretty good AoE in team fights, which typically is a lot of heroes' problems, like just no AoE. I mean, Earnest Swarm is so-so, but with that Ion Shell, he can just, you know, make a huge impact on team fights with his excellent mobility and difficult to kill with Shukuchi and time lapse.
yeah, it's I wonder if we'll see him again. VP does start with the Bounty Hunter, but this hero is very kind of susceptible to pushes in 5-man Dota. If you don't have that good start, he can't stop pushes in his own lane, and it's very hard to find those openings for track kills in the mid game. And Fnatic, to some extent, it's pretty obvious what they want to do. We're going to see, at some point in probably that 10 to 20 minute mark at the latest, a 5-man group up and push, and they get their hands on a Dying. This is a very annoying hero that's often just auto-banned, but VP say, screw it. We're comfortable with our style. We're going to pick up the Prophet and the Weaver again. So pretty much all of their farmers already secured in the first stage of the draft. No supports picked up. What do you make of this?
Very interesting so far. Again, a lot of single target, Bounty Hunter, Nature's Prophet, Weaver. You know, you always want to have like some sort of AoE in your lineup. Looks like they're switching back to CK, but they do not have a Wisp this time to support him. So you need like a decent amount of AoE to handle those early Phantasm images early. Or early, mid, and late, to be honest.
I guess they've got the Prophet ult and the Swarm, but that doesn't really count. And I assume we'll see all of those AoE supports banned out now. Already Keeper of the Light goes, Twin-Headed Dragon sure to follow in short order. And who's going to be left as far as supports? I assume maybe the Shadow Demon gets a ban here. Perhaps the Disruptor gets a nod, but we'll see. I mean, whenever you pick Chaos Knight, it's not really about the Chaos Knight himself, it's about who you pair him with. Wisp is gone. There are some options. There's Ancient Apparition would be an old school choice, not bad against Prophet to help discourage the split push. I suppose there's also Alina, but the Wisp is really the one you want, and they're not going to get it.
Maybe not a Nyx assassin, I'm not sure. He's like so-so. They do have a Bounty Hunter to try somewhat counter Vendetta, soft counter. I am very curious to see. There's like Twin-Headed Dragon, of course, left in the pool. That's probably going to be picked up. I'm not sure about the last couple of heroes, though.
I'll be shocked if it doesn't get banned. I mean, especially, well, who's got the first pick coming out of this? It will be Virtus.pro, and I feel like they have to get it if it's there. Fnatic would love to get it too. I mean, if you have Undying and you have Twin-Headed Dragon, that's a tri-lane, if you want to run it as a tri-lane, that can beat anyone. There's just nothing that can shut it down, really. At least, certainly nothing that VP have that can deal with it. We could see a Weaver tri-lane as well. He is pretty strong. It's something... I've cast a little bit of Dota 1 in the Philippines, and they love their Weaver in the tri-lane, often in the aggressive side of the map. So we'll see. I mean, it's an option for VP, but I feel like they don't really have the answer for that death ball.
Yeah, Weaver's really nice. He can tower dive. As soon as he sees a TP, he can just time lapse or Shukuchi out. Normally, when you play that aggressively, you have to be very, very wary about TP ganks. But Weaver just is, just not susceptible to those sort of things, provided he uses cooldown properly. So we'll see a TA ban. Rubik and Lena are banned from VP, so not too many supports left.
I'm glad you mentioned the Weaver tower diving, because that is one thing Fnatic is a bit light on. They've got Chaos Bolt and potentially Entangle, although not really a full answer for Weaver since he can time-lapse back to safety, but they don't have a lot of chain stun, and VP has a lineup that would love to be tower diving you, not only the Weaver, but also the Bounty Hunter and the Prophet. So, yeah, both teams a bit lacking in those AoE spells, and especially in the stuns. And pretty much everyone that's got banned is great with the AoE or the stuns.
So THD last banned by Fnatic, so pretty much only support heroes that need to be picked at this point. Something to combo with Undying or Chaos Knight, rather.
I'm really surprised to see a TA ban. I just don't see how that would fit into VP's lineup, but I'm not sure I would see how Tinker fits in, aside from just giving you that ridiculous late game potential with double hex carry, natural hex carriers. You've also got just the mobility of this team, but another hero who doesn't have a stun. He does have a lot of AoE though, and that's going to make it harder for Fnatic to 5-man.
Yeah, Laser is really good versus Chaos Knight. March can also deal with the images, and Rocket plus Track seems actually a little bit underrated, I think. And they have very good global presence. Like, if they try and push, he'll just track, rocket, and then TP out, and then there goes the push. And they have Nature's Prophet ultimate for a little bit more global presence.
My only concern for VP right now is they need a lot of farm and levels, and they've got some good laning heroes. Tinker is obviously strong in any 1v1 with lasers to make it hard to last hit. You can always push the lane with March. You can stack Ancients, and I mean, if they get to the mid game, okay, I think VP is in great shape, but this is going to be tough to find that farm in the laning stage. And I like what Fnatic is doing. I think we're going to see that aggressive dual lane mid, Chaos Knight Leshrac, probably the combo there. And that's a combo that can kill Tinker. Although they get a great support to help protect him, most likely. We may see, if not a Shadow Demon laning mid, then at least ready to show up there at some point. And
yeah, good call on the Shadow Demon. So we'll probably see from VP, Bounty Hunter, top, Weaver bottom, with SD starting off in between mid and bottom, depending on where he's needed, if in case Tinker's facing double lane. Tinker almost certainly middle, just very good with runes, and probably just going to farm his early boots of travel. And then Nature's Prophet, probably starting off in the jungle, just keeping wherever he needs to help.
Something we touched on a little bit in this draft, which the chat is now pointing out. VP technically has 0 stuns. They've got Disruption. They've got a mini stun on Shuriken Toss. That's it. There are no actual stuns on this team. And they are up against a hero in the Chaos Knight and the Lone Druid as well with that bear. If they get farmed, there is no way to run from these heroes. I guess you could try and run away, but that's pretty much it. Fnatic, on the other hand, they get an Earthshaker. This is going to be a very interesting game. It's a very different approach from each of these teams. Fnatic, the really strong laning stage, lots of chain stun, going to be going for those early kills and hopefully group up and push. But Virtus Pro is the time bomb. They've got the track gold and they've got the mobility, the global split push, the march, which you mentioned, very annoying to try and group up and push into. And one thing Fnatic does seem to lack is that hero that's going to get the early mech or pipe. I suppose it could be the Undying. If he can find the farm, but that's going to make it harder to push, so just a very interesting clash in styles this game.
Yeah, very interesting to see how Fnatic's going to rate this. They have 4, or I guess 3 melee heroes and Lone Druid. Lone Druid almost certainly in the off lane. I guess Fnatic is Radiant this time. So we have Hani's actually on Shaker this time, usually in the carry role, but this time we see him probably roaming Shaker.
Boots first Shaker as well. We're gonna see some roaming from Hani.
Oh, they're pulling the Shaker. They gave him 2 clarities.
This is next level. This is not something we normally see.
Carry Shaker.
I think if it was carry Shaker, we'd probably see Hani rushing that Midas and then the Shadow Blade to follow. It's something Dendi has done in the past, is carry Earthshaker, but not sure we'll see it this game. The rest of the players, we have Era on the Chaos Knight, Trixie on the Lone Druid, No Tail playing that Undying, and of course Fly has killed off some trees, is going to be looking to do those ever so annoying mid pulls, but the bear might get ganked. Virtus Pro have the set. No, they're not going to be able to kill it off. Over on the side of VP, we've got Santa on the Bounty Hunter, Airman on the Weaver, CRZ on the Tinker, has gone for a little bit of extra damage, but still rushing that bottle. NS on the Shadow Demon. And who did I miss? The Bounty Hunter. No, I already... NS on the Shadow... No, I think I got them all. I think I need some of that coffee as well.
I don't know why Leshrac was in base. Like, Radiant has a much better first blood lineup with three stuns and probably early Tombstone if he really wants to double point into it this early. So, but unfortunately Leshrac was back at base. They probably could have picked someone off. Like, as you said before, VP has technically no stuns. So, you know, stuns are very strong in the early first blood. But they pretty much just roam their jungle uncontested, and we see a ward. And oh, look at that ward placement.
This is obnoxious.
Wow. No-Tail trying to place that sentry, but he can't actually find that observer ward unless they get a crow or chop down some trees with Split Earth. So
every game that whenever VP runs their own dual lane mid, they have done a good job of making sure they ward off that pull camp. Because if you don't, you're already not going to get that much experience with a dual lane mid, and then you're losing even more to those mid pulls. So for the moment, should be okay. Pretty important from them.
Very interesting lane choice from Fnatic. They choose to have the ES top with boots instead of a Syllabear versus Weaver, which got dominated last game. Instead, Syllabear's in the safe lane, just getting free farm while Undying tries to push Santa away, who is Bounty Hunter. And then mid, we see 4 heroes. SD just sitting back. He's not actually trying to take any experience. Notice he's still level 1, just letting Tinker get those early levels. He is probably going for a March build, one level of laser early, just to just for that 3-second miss, and then SD just babysitting him in case they do ever decide to double stun him.
Yeah, I love the position of NS, just sitting really far back. So if they try to go in, he'll be able to get that disruption off, and he won't be in trouble himself. Because that's one thing that can happen is if you're too close up to the creep wave, they initiate on you instead of the Tinker, and then you're pretty much screwed. They also have the Prophet, who can always be that X factor. If we saw that last game being a big issue, Fnatic overextending, then Prophet joined the fight. They got 2 kills off of that. So this is actually they're running an aggressive dual lane mid, but it's because of that Shadow Demon. Very hard to find the openings. In fact, Hani's going to come in. They won. It's a party mid. It's 6 heroes converging on the lane. Prophet's not too far up. The Fissure is going to catch NS. Tries to self-disrupt. Can't get it off. Will disrupt, but this should be an easy kill if the Split Earth is there, and it is. NS will fall first. Level 1 March is pretty powerful, but it's actually level 2. No, it's only level 1, but not enough to get the kill. I love the movement from Hani. Also coincides with the rune spawning, and now can either pick that up or give it to a teammate. Good movement from Hani, and I think something they needed. They weren't going to find that kill 2v2.
Right. But meantime, Airman is just free farming top as Weaver, and Syllabear free farming bottom.
It's I mean, how do you look at this trade? Is it a pretty even one, or do you give an edge to either team?
I mean, with that first blood pickup, is definitely, I think, in Fnatic's favor. But, you know, they do have Fury on free farming, and Tinker hasn't died. That's very important. SD's life is not that important, but Tinker getting his early bottle, boots, and bots will allow Shadow Demon to catch back up very easily. He does need to be very defensive, though. So if they had gotten a first blood on Tinker, it would have been a much bigger deal, but it was just SD who died, who's, you know, he's, you know, important, but if he dies, it's not a big deal. So it could have been worse for VP. They're still handling pretty well. They have 3 free farming heroes pretty much right now in Weaver and Furion and Tinker. SD a little bit underleveled, but he'll catch back up soon enough. And Bounty Hunter just in the suicide lane, just getting his levels.
Yeah, both suicide lanes getting quite a bit. Earthshaker 1v1 against that Weaver. As long as he sits close to the tower, Weaver just doesn't have the burst to bring him down. And obviously without the lockdown, you can't really tower dive because you always just get fissured under tower until you have your time lapse. That could be your death. So this long lane Shaker seemed a little bit odd, but it's working out. I mean, he is getting levels. Is it enough to justify that the Tinker's having a decent time mid, that the Bounty's getting something bottom, and that, of course, there's a Prophet jungling who is going for Midas? Well, the verdict's still out on that, but in the lane, at least, the Earthshaker's doing fine.
Yep, exactly. It's pretty good that he's getting some levels, but he doesn't have any tangos on him, so he's very susceptible to a Furion TP gank if, you know, it pushes far out past the river. So we may see that very soon. He needs some tangos on him, or LT is probably going to die. They're whenever you Furion, you always try and pick off the easy targets. Heroes without any good escape mechanism, no blink, no tangos. Leshrac doesn't have any tangos on him either.
Neither does
yeah, pretty much nobody except for
just Trixie, but they're probably not going for him anyway.
And Undying. So we'll probably see some action from Furion soon. I like how he changes build game to game. Like we saw him start off with a couple of tangos and eaters last game. This game he went for Ring of Basilius. The first game he rushed Urn. So very flexible Furion play, which I like.
I mean, that's what the hero's all about. Sometimes whether it's the lanes or just the item and skill build, it's got to be one of the most, if not the most versatile hero in the game, and I like to see him played that way, and it's a good adjustment in this case, because for VP, it's pretty obvious. They just want to get the bots up on the Tinker, and then get the Prophet level 6, and then just farm until they have the double hex, maybe find some track kills. As long as they hold on to their towers, I mean, this is the game plan, so angling for that really strong mid to late game is exactly what they want. Era jumps in, but they need that extra stun from Earthshaker, and he's just not finding the right angle for the fissure. In fact, you already see the power of that March in lane. Takes away about half of Era's health. They're going to go back in on CRZ, but you just can't dive him because Disruption is there. Or maybe you can because he's fissure blocked away from the tower. No split earth just yet, though. And in fact,
very nice block.
That was a nice block, but there's just no follow-up.
I know. They need to get a kill because ES is sacrificing a lot by not being able to get levels top. So Nighttime just hit. He's like, screw this. We're not getting kill middle. So he chooses to go back top. 6-minute respawns. It is an invis on a CK who has a bottle, so they can probably pick up an easy kill with this, unless SD's on top of his game. Oh, he doesn't actually choose to use it, so they actually know that he has the invis now. So maybe the element of surprise is a little bit gone. No wars. The wars from Dire just expired, and they probably need to get some up soon. Looks like Radiant's wars are up for about 1 or 2 minutes, but they're in a very bad position right now. No vision, CK invis rune, empty bottle on Tinker, so he can't actually heal up any damage.
Yeah, I mean, if Fnatic starts moving around the map, it's going to be big trouble. I guess the question is, who would move, though? Chaos Knight's got the invis rune, but aside from that, he can't find kills by himself too easily. Maybe with a really nice fissure block, but that's a Weaver top lane, you're not killing him. The Bounty Hunter never an easy kill, so I actually feel like they're okay, but I still would like to see those wards. Well, maybe
he pops the invis. He pops the invis, and he looks like he's going on the Shadow Demon. Shadow Demon just picked up wards. He's like, black map, nighttime is very, very bad, and they need to babysit this Tinker as much as possible. 4-second stun, and
oh, he's gonna wait, but there's still a split earth. Will it land? It will. Nice kill there to start this one off. Now Era taking some good damage, but should be able to get away, or maybe not, because Airman destroyed the fight. Doesn't actually run through him to get the Sakuchi damage, but it's okay. The auto tech just enough to secure that kill, along with the Soul Catcher, I believe. Maybe that was Shadow Poison. I always get the animations mixed up.
Very good mobility by VP. They were, I mean, granted, he did get 4-second stun and disrupted, but immediately Weaver TP's in, Furion TP's in to try and help, and they managed to get a kill out of it. So they traded 1-for-1. Tinker dying early is not that great, but they traded CK's life for it.
Oh, they might get Trixie bottom. Airman's so active with his Weaver around the map. We saw him diving. Oh, it looks like Santa will pay, but they do get the kill on the Lone Druid, and that is a trade Virtus.Pro will be happy to make.
Unfortunately, no track for that. He was level 5, I think, at that point, hadn't had it skilled up.
I think this is going decently well for VP, although that death on the middle lane really hurt the Tinker. They're shutting down the Lone Druid a little bit. Fnatic hasn't really found a big opening to group up and push. Now they might kill off No-Tail. They will. That Soul Catcher is showing its versatility, and he is going for a Soul Catcher max. So just making sure they have that extra burst damage. Every time they find these kills, it buys time for the Tinker, who's got Rearm, has the max March. Once he farms these Ancients, he's going to be very close to his Boots of Travel.
He's coming back from that, from that death very quickly. He got a kill on Undying, picked up a regen room, which is very, very nice with Rearm and March. Someone stacked the Ancients for him kindly, so he'll get a good amount of gold from this.
Yeah, and I think VP's in a pretty good position, because if they keep all their towers up, they've got the split push, they've got the lineup that just you can't really push against without openings. And, something we talked about in the draft, how does Fnatic just find the openings? They've got some good chasing power CK, but they don't have the Wisp, they don't have that ability to just show up anywhere instantly. Lone Druid can be kind of a siege breaker. He's got a Midas, but I feel like VP's in a pretty comfortable position.
Yeah, they definitely are, I believe, especially since Fnatic pick a lot of stuns. Usually stuns are very dominant in the laning phase, and kills are actually even right now. Very good roaming SD, or I guess he just sat mid. Very good babysitting SD to try and minimize the impact from that dual stun mid. Usually when he dual stun mid's a very aggressive lane, trying to pick up some early kills in their solo. Oh, very nice disrupt on mid lane.
Or maybe not, because it sets up that stun from Shrek.
Yeah, he did dodge a Chaos Bolt, but unfortunately split Earth timing and just yields a easy kill for Shrek.
But it's, like you said earlier, it's not the Tinker dying, although this might be the Tinker dying. Oh, CRZ, that was a positional error that he really didn't want to make, and now with that kill and no-tail rotating mid, this is where things can get dicey for VP. The good news is Shrek doesn't have Edict, so the tower not going to drop too quickly. Meanwhile, while that's happening bottom lane, Trixie gets picked off, so they get another kill on the Lone Druid, who rushed the Midas, and has died twice since then. I believe that was a track kill as well.
So it looks like they're going to try and trade towers, but Shrek without that Edict just doesn't really have any pushing potential. He opted for a stun and max lightning, which is, you know, most of the time we see Edict, but he has level 4 lightning storm at level 7. So, which is very good anti-push, but he's not there in time to defend bottom tower.
Oh, Hani unloads!
Gets crushed.
Oh, a huge ultimate double kill from Hani. Who needs a Blink Dagger when you have a TP scroll?
Yeah, wow. 1100 gold on him. He's halfway to his Blink Dagger. If he gets an early Blink Dagger, it could seriously cause some issues for VP. Tinker, let's check his bots. He's 1200 gold in. Only needs, oh wow. He's actually 1400 gold after this camp, so only 600 more gold. That's, you know, just a couple ancient stacks. There is that one dragon left. Nobody's stacking that for him right now. SD just chilling mid, trying to get his level 6.
And they have been fighting 4v5 more or less. We haven't really seen much movement from the Prophet. We saw Weaver get active. Prophet has the Midas up, sitting on another 700 gold, and it's even off cooldown. But the Tinker's got to stop dying. He's got to get the Boots of Travel up. He's got to start farming for that next item and avoid giving up the pickoffs. And that Blink Dagger, which is probably going to be Hani's next item, isn't far off, and then it does get a little bit harder. It's that mobility item they need to really find those openings when Tinker and Prophet are off farming and pushing by themselves. So I think that was a pretty big win for Fnatic bottom lane, despite the track kill on the Lone Druid, and we'll have to see if they can keep it going.
Well, they did get a tower though, so like
right.
once they kill that T1 tower, it just opens up the jungle to gank. So like Lone Druid, and you know, he's not really that safe farming the jungle anymore with that first tower down. You know, if he gets caught right now, it's just really far TP, and they have bounty hunters scouted out. So I mean, yeah, Earthshaker did pick up a couple kills, but it just pretty much opens up the bottom lane to ganks. Hopefully we see bounty hunter roam there. He's actually headed there right now. Let's see if they try and Fury on TP and pick off this Lone Druid.
It's very unorthodox. I mean, to a certain extent, it's like they're just trading farm, and the hero they're trading farm for, well, one of them is the Earthshaker, which is normally not something you see. Maybe not what they planned, but that's how it's working out. And the bounty hunter comes, like you mentioned, the jungle is now open and exposed to some traffic. Airman wants to go for a little bit of a drive-by here. This plane can land what it needs to. Trixie gets caught, bursts down immediately, or maybe not. Look at that split earth on 2. It will be the Weaver escaping, although he actually uses his ultimate just before the dust, so the dust will see him, but can Era actually catch him? It looks like he won't be able to. And top lane, meanwhile, Hani getting caught out of position, tries to TP away. The disruption has already been used, dies before he can get out. His corpse, I believe, back at the fountain right now. We'll have to see if it's still there later, because now KSI overextending, getting picked off. Tinker has Boots of Travel. He's going to join this fight. There come the rockets, but with no leveled up laser, can't actually get the kill. If that's a max laser, he would die, but maybe they can push this tower. Nope, maybe not.
So 13 minutes. Bottle, Soul Ring, bots on Tinker. He's gonna start having a huge impact on this game. You know, yeah, the Radiant jungle is just not that safe to farm anymore. I mean, he was taking a small camp right next to the T1 with 2 people just sitting there, Leshrac and Undying, to back him up, but he still got picked off. Granted, he wasn't in bear form, though. Hopefully, he sits in bear form, which is a little bit safer.
No, apparently he doesn't want to. He's very stubborn about this from the looks of things. Because that, I mean, how many deaths does he have at this point? Let's actually check. He's 0-3. That's a safe lane Lone Druid. That's too much, and now he will sit in the ult form, so not going to be that easy of a kill anymore. Over on the top lane, Virtus.Pro started to group up a little bit more. Weaver, no Reina Basilius on him. The Prophet has it, though. Speaking of that Prophet, he's starting to get pretty farmed, and I like the way this game is developing for VP. I feel Fnatic, they still got to continue to find those openings. You can't let these towers drop, because it's not just about the ganks, it's about the freedom for VP to be aggressive with their pushing. They will pull the Tinker back in, but there's March going here. It's doing some decent damage. Fissure is going to whiff from Hani. Just actually looks like it didn't travel as far as a Fissure would, but that's just, I guess, a graphical, well, not distortion, but just one of those optical illusion type of things. Era gonna get a haster on top. Can he turn it into a potential kill? Santa's stalking him. Will track him and then immediately go invis. Virtus.Pro, a lot of movement around the map. And Era wants to be aggressive. Will pull CRZ back into the tower, but CRZ able to get away. No Tail caught in the middle of the enemy team. Will heal himself up. Dropping low, able to survive. Era begging for that Leshrac to come in, and Leshrac has said, I'm coming, man, I'm coming. But just can't get there fast enough. Meanwhile, on the bottom lane, Trixie, the one nice thing for Fnatic is getting some room to farm. On the flip side, so too is Airman. That tier 1 top stands, but for how much longer, has taken quite a beating. And the tier 1 mid the same as well. VP, a lot of pressure all over the map.
Excellent. And Lincoln's almost up on Airman. He just needs about 1,000 gold. Let's see how... almost mech on Nature's Prophet. They really do need some team fight potential in the form of mech. Looks like TP gank on this Starladder. And looks like he's gonna try and TP out. He gets stopped by Shuriken, and wow, he just got it. Just turned even 2 to 4.
Even
wow.
at ult 4, I just didn't have a chance there. It's
right.
And this is the extra annoying thing about the Tinker and Prophet is Tinker can just TP anywhere as long as Prophet's there because of the Treant. So CRZ getting even more mobility on a hero that's already known for his mobility. Really using the combo well.
Yeah, just Lone Druid not really getting that much space to farm. You know, they were just putting pressure on top and mid, and then as soon as that was done, they're just looking for him, just going to train him down. He has no wards on bottom. It's just very unsafe for him to farm. He maybe should like start switching to the Radiant Ancients. They saw that T1 tower up. It's only barely alive though, 151 HP.
Yeah, and the top tower is going to fall soon, and then that really opens up the map for Virtus.Pro. And with their global lineup, as well as having the Weaver and the Bounty Hunter, great chasing heroes, I mean, they're a team that benefits from having those towers down more than most would.
So Leshrac just set up a sentry in Obs. They spotted this DD Bounty Hunter. Looks like they're going to try and counter gank him, or they're actually just waiting for him right now. So
I think it was game 1 where we saw Santa run directly into sentries like 4 or 5 times and get picked off, but just hasn't happened this game.
Oh, it looks like he's going to run, but they aren't waiting for him anymore.
Now he comes in. Oh, just doesn't seem to be Fnatic's game so far. Can they turn it around? We'll find out, but the tier 1 drops mid. Got to figure the tier 1 top is going to fall soon, and it's going to get to that point where you've just got 2-3 waves of March up constantly. Prophet ult being spammed, tracks on everybody, the bugs coming out. VP can just kind of be like a team-wide siege cannon and just slowly chip away at Fnatic's base, and I don't know how Fnatic break out of that contain.
Yeah, Fnatic is in a VP's in a very good position right now. They're not giving Silver any room to farm. He does have a Midas, but you know his radiance is going to come much slower than normal. They're just completely shutting down his jungling ability with these 2 T1 towers taking down. Third one about to fall on top, it looks like.
And, you know, you mentioned the Radiance. How much is it really going to do? Because VP are getting a lot of levels. They already have the mech up on Prophet, which helps to negate some of that damage. Soon the pipe may come out from him.
They really need that blink on Shaker. Notice on that bottom when that T1 was falling, he had 1,100 gold with Arcane Boots, and he's still like sitting just around that. He has 1,300 gold right now.
I wonder if he bought wards or something. Santa's going to get caught and brought down. Where did the gold go? I mean, he hasn't farmed anything. We even saw him go back top. I guess he's just died a lot since then.
Yeah, I have no idea. I would expect him to have blink right now, but
I'm not sure.
Still 800 away.
Flies maybe going to die under the tower to the bugs. Can they kill the bug in time? They do. 20 HP. And it's just every time they're finding these, oh, NS might die top. Era finally finds an opening, but I mean, this is getting to the point where killing Shadow Demon does nothing for you. As a first blood, a decent prize, but he's pretty expendable. He's just there to disrupt anyone who gets initiated upon by that Chaos Knight, and he still can do that whether you kill him or not.
Fnatic just wants a little bit of room to farm. They just need, you know, a couple minutes free farm on Shaker for his blink, and you know, Silver would just love to free farm jungle and get his Radiance, but you know, constant pressure by VP on all their towers.
This is going to get to that point, and I feel in 3 or 4 minutes, if something doesn't change for Fnatic, where if you just look at the creep waves, they're all going to be like here, like at the tier 2s, where the tier 2s are now for Fnatic constantly. And being on the dire side, that opens up Roshan, although they don't even want to wait for that. They're just going to go now. And with Tinker on your team and Prophet, how do you ever go for the Roshan? Because if you do, the creeps are going to be wailing away on your tier 2s, and VP is going to have plenty of time to run away. Just a free Aegis. This is spiraling out of control really quickly for Fnatic.
So NS sets up wards so they can see if they are going to contest. I'm not sure if they are going to. They're all around mid area, but Earthshaker is in no position to do so. Still 600 away from his blink. Roshan is about to fall. Greevil Roshan.
It's I'm not sure if it's cute or hideous, but it's definitely something different.
A little bit of both.
Yeah. It's like I want to give it a hug, but I also don't at the same time.
Attempted Aegis steal by the Starladder, but he was unable to do it. Airman gets the Aegis. This was around, what, let's say 19 and a half minutes. Right.
Yeah, maybe a little bit earlier than that. And with the Aegis, Weaver can be even more aggressive.
So Tinker opted for early Blink Dagger, which is very good. They don't have any instant stuns. Blink Dagger is very good when they don't have any instant stuns. For example, Sand King, he can just blink away if he sees the Chaos Bolt flying towards him, or before Earthshaker gets blink, he can just blink away if he sees his fissure animation. Same with Split Earth. But so we'll probably see him probably go for Sheep. That's a standard Tinker build. Usually you get Bottle, Soul Ring, Bots, and then one mobility item, either Force Staff or Blink, and then a Sheep. So just constant pressure by VP. ES trying to farm top. He's very, very close to his Blink Dagger. Only 40 gold away.
Middle lane, KSI taking some damage, but able to survive for the moment. That mech really helping him. The extra armor and the heal so good against a physical DPS here like Chaos Knight. And every time Fnatic tries to initiate, if they kill anyone, it's just the Shadow Demon, pretty much. 1 and 3 for him. The Bounty Hunter's died a few times, but even he's mostly there to kill out Trex. NS walks uphill into that Chaos Knight, and he says, finally, I get my revenge. Now Airman drops the Aegis bottom. Oh man, VP getting a little sloppy here, overextending. It is a delicate dance when you're trying to conduct the split push, especially when they still have their tier 2s up. Fnatic strike back, get a couple of kills. Well, 1 kill and an Aegis off. But it's not enough yet, but are getting
ES has picked up his blink, so we'll probably see some ganks from him very soon. They can repel pushes. He's not gonna. He actually might be here in time for his bottom fight, so let's see if they can defend his T2.
Yeah, the bear with the bugs on it has the Midas on the bear at the moment, and up getting close to that Radiance, but it feels it's a very late Radiance timing anyway, and well, not even the Radiance, the Relic I should say. And again, a game where how much will it do when everybody's got so many levels, when there's already a mech, probably a pipe to follow soon. The tower's gonna drop. Will it be denied? It looks like VP are just gonna let it fall, or let it be denied, but it's still a tower down. Even more room now for this VP squad.
Starladder is, yeah, I mean, he's 3,400 gold. He'll probably get his Relic in a minute or two, but still it's going to be like, 26-minute Radiance.
And that's like a good 8 minutes later than you'd want, even for a hard lane lone druid, I want to say. Sure, he's got the Midas, but I think this lone druid could have a lot of items, and I don't know that it would matter at a certain point, because you have the rearmable Hex, you'll have the Prophet with the Hex eventually. And you can also just blind that bear with laser. And there's a lot of ways to deal with him on this VP side.
Looks like Furion might be going for Sheep too. He has 36. He's just sitting on 3,600 gold with Midas Mech, regular boots, and Ring of Basilius.
This is what we saw. He didn't do anything in the laning stage, just farmed, and then eventually started to counter push, split push. But if you don't punish that in the laning stage, then he comes back to bite you in the mid game. And that's exactly what we're seeing out of VP now, is everybody getting their farm. The jungle just firmly in their control. There's not even any contesting it from Fnatic. How can they? Airman's constantly pushing the bottom lane, the mid lane being pushed in. Just look at the movement of Fnatic. This is, it's like they're in a prison and somebody just started pushing one of the walls in, and that prison shrinks even a little bit smaller, but they're going to echo Airman. He was not prepared for that. Nice blink in from Hani. They do find the kill.
Sentry too.
But it was still 5 heroes and it's at their base, and even with that Weaver kill, can they really turn it into anything more? How do they get a tower? How do they push out?
So Furion picked up an Ultimate Orb. Looks like they're going to have 2 Sheeps very soon. Tinker, Ultimate Orb is 600 gold, so they'll probably have a couple Sheeps by the time he has his Radiance. Relic is up on Bear. He has 200 gold, just trying to farm away.
He's got the Radiance soon, and I don't know, Fnatic is trying to find the openings. This is what they need. They smoke up, Hani loses almost all his health. running through the march. Now forced to back off. They also need a pipe. I mean, that's something you just have to have against a Tinker if this game goes later. And something I talked about in the draft is who's going to build it. It's a support Undying. Lone Druid can build one, but normally not really an item we see from him when he's in that one position as the safe lane farmer. I feel like Fnatic still needs a lot more, but hey, they're hanging in there. The Relic, it's a small sign of life for this team.
Yeah, good. Smokings are very good versus Tinker, but you know you kind of have to catch him early. Now he has Blink and almost Sheep. It's gonna be pretty difficult for him to get picked off. Oh, he does get rooted, and he does get picked off just as I say that.
Blink Dagger, great if you could blink away in time, but unfortunately wasn't prepared. Virtus.Pro starting to get a little sloppy here. Heroes getting caught out, and also Fnatic just doing a good job of anticipating their movements, which is really what you have to do when you're up against these global heroes. Era is Invis. He's had a lot of Invis runes. Can he make this one count? He needs to Reality Rift and then Chaos Bolt. He'll do so once the execution, but Airman gets off the ult. Will they echo for this? They don't need to. Wow, VP giving up a lot of kills, and just Hani has been there time and again, but that was some really great play by the Chaos Knights.
Yeah, they're playing very, very aggressively right now when they could just sit back and farm both jungles and, like, by them playing sloppy, they're giving, this bear time to farm his Radiance. He has 1,200 gold, so his Radiance is up in just 100 gold. They just need to sit back, farm their sheeps, take easy T2 towers, and, they're just playing a little bit ogre aggressive and sloppy, as you say.
Well, Tinker, in spite of a couple of deaths, still has the ultimate orb. He's not too far off a Hex. Profit up to 3k gold, pretty much has it at this point. And the one concern for Fnatic is, sure, you find kills, but can you find enough to transition into a push? Still the tier 1 top stands, and the tier 1 bottom for that matter. In fact, neither has really been touched.
Right. Tinker is one of the best anti-pushers in the game. Stillabear is generally pretty good at taking towers, but he needs his team to back him up, and just walking into that marsh and Rocket is just a recipe for disaster.
Well, they don't want to make the recipe for disaster. That's not in their cookbook, so.
So we have Radiance up on Bear right now, and 200 gold in his bank.
Yeah, I mean, I'd like to see a casual cloak. You're up against a lot of magic damage, but we'll see what Trixie goes for.
So KSI almost has a sheep, 3,400 gold. He's been playing the safest out of the VP heroes. It looks like Tinker got picked off, Weaver got picked off, and lost his Aegis, and died again. So KSI playing it safe as he should be, and just getting a sheep, 100 away. No reason to take unnecessary risk right at this point. Looks like Fnatic.
They are going to be revealed. Santa runs right into the smoke gang. This was something that happened in game number 1. Got picked off quite a few times. They do find that kill, but again, the question.
They were just waiting for him. And CK picked up a gem. Very good idea by him. They might actually get a tower for this if Tinker is not prepared. Tinker's TPing to the T2, but I do not think he can stop this in time. They still have Phantasm up. No Edict, though, but Bear with Radiance does a lot of damage to tower. And he TPs into the fog and just spams Marge and Rocket. Let's see. Glyph is down, and that will be a tower pickup. They're second for the game.
Yeah, their second tower. Something they desperately needed to help equalize the score, but meanwhile, Airman pushes the top lane into the base. KSI pushes the middle lane pretty much into the base, and now when they try to retreat, they don't do so quite with the whole team. Era's going to get caught, but maybe it's a good fight, because in comes the Tinker into the Chaos Knight illusions. Even with the mech, it's just not enough. VP gets picked off again. I think expecting the rest of Fnatic to have already TP'd to defend. In fact, they did not do so. One more kill. They're really getting on a roll here, and VP just not really properly anticipating what Fnatic is trying to do. They thought they were gone, and they were just waiting in the trees.
Yeah, Tinker just TP'd in on the siege creep, didn't expect any. Oh, Santa's gonna get picked off again. Wow.
It's like they're just running into the meat grinder at this point. Jesus.
Right.
And Fnatic is playing well to some extent. It's them just predicting what VP is going to do. Like the smoke ganks, having the Earthshaker ready to blink in. An echo for that kill we saw bottom earlier. I think it was more over here. And then the kills that happened up top as well. So it's been good prediction from Fnatic. But, I mean, like you said, VP could be playing the safer. They're just choosing to be aggressive, thinking they'll have the edge because they have all these global heroes. But it's not working out that way. In spite of all the deaths, still the Hex up on the Prophet. the Hex still not that far off on the Tinker. So, I mean, this is the nice thing about VP's lineup. Because they had that good start, they can make some mistakes and still recover, but they are starting to make a lot of mistakes.
Right, look at this XP graph, just a huge change. It was 5,500 in favor of Dire, and now it's almost back to 0. XP graph and gold graph, just a sharp change up from, you know, these little bit risky plays by VP. Roshan is up in probably 10 seconds, so we'll probably see them do that very soon.
They need the Aegis, the way they're playing.
They do.
They need every bit they can get. I like the item selection from Santa. He's gone for a Vlad's. Really nice item to have, just for the extra armor against a Lone Druid and a Chaos Knight. Even helps you a little bit against Edict, since it does mixed damage, but just also a good item to push in general. And, well, VP are going to get this Roshan, and in spite of some bad... Oh, CRZ, you cheeky little bastard. Barely slips away from the gank. And this is going to buy them all the time in the world. Uncontested Aegis going their way, Tinker coming in. Let's see who they give it to. It will be Airman.
Almost MKB up on him too. He's getting good, very good farm. They have 3 very farmed heroes: Weaver and Furion and Tinker, all very, very farmed. And then on Fnatic's team, we pretty much only have Radiance, and CK's actually pretty farmed too. He uses Reaver, Armlet, and Drums.
He's getting pretty big, and you can't blind all the illusions, so it could be a concern, but it's really going to come down to initiation. If they get the Chain Hex off on him, Arrow won't be able to do a thing. Likewise, if he gets the Phantasm off, VP may just melt before that Chaos Knight. And
it's another smoke gem gank.
And they keep the ganks up. They keep the aggression flying. VP seems a little more prepared for this, as in they're nowhere near that tower.
Right. He even has the Transit run around and scout, so...
Yeah, of course they can't see this smoke gank coming. I don't think that smoke was spotted by a ward, but VP all the way, just sensing that Fnatic is up on that top side of the map. This will allow Fnatic to get a tier 1. Is Fnatic coming back into this game if the mistakes that VP have made cost them? The tower score continues to equalize. I mean, there's only so many more towers you can lose. Oh, Trixie has overstayed his welcome. I think they were trying to maybe bait him, but they were just... That was some serious miscommunication. 4 heroes near the secret shop. Trixie just in the lane.
Yeah, definitely a little bit of miscommunication there. 3,200 gold on Tinker, so his Sheep is very close to being up. Permahex is going to be very, very difficult to deal with. And if he's Sheep Shaker before he gets his Blink Echo off, it's gonna be bad team fight for Fnatic.
Well, it's a pretty even game. VP, you would think this is a position that favors them with the spammable Permahex, the global lineup, having the Roshan advantage if the game goes later, most likely going to be able to get future Aegises if it comes to that, and having multiple carries that are quite farmed. Like you mentioned, it's only the Lone Druid and the Chaos Knight who really have anything. Leshrac, rather poor. I mean, he's got decent items for a dual lane mid support, but you know he's not really going to be a hard carry this game. He doesn't have a Bloodstone or a Scythe of Vice, a Shiva's, anything like that. Earthshaker with the Blink, now going for a Yule Scepter.
Yule's. Interesting pickup.
They're going to catch out Fly, though, and this is what happens if you leave your base. It's so hard. I mean, you're up against Bounty Hunter, you're up against that global mobility. And because there's a Bounty Hunter, Fnatic can't even make mistakes. I mean, this is with Virtus Pro making a lot, that they're still in a tough position.
Right. KSI is just sitting on a lot of gold. He already has his Scythe, Mag, Midas, selling his Basilius right now. He has 4,000 gold right now.
Did you say Chaos Knight?
No, Furion, sorry.
Ah, okay.
I didn't mean, yeah, I might have said that, but Furion's very, very rich right now. Oh, probably richest in the game.
Yeah, just buy a full BKB. Why the hell not? It's you walk into the jewelry store, I'll take everything. Oh, man. Better put a rate on that one. But, yeah, Virtus Pro, I like how they've kind of ratcheted back the aggression. Play more defensively, just going back to what you were talking about, split pushing, farming both jungles, having the Midas, and then if Fnatic leave the base, they've got some good wards up. Now the MKB comes out on the Weaver, and then they just find the track kill with the double global hex.
So it looks like they do need some BKBs. Like Mastodon lineup, you pretty much need a BKB if you're going to be in the fray. So Furion picks one up, Bounty Hunter's working on his as well. They're de-warding a little bit with his gem, but you know they're pretty much very confined to their quadrant of the map. Whereas VP has, free farm in both jungles, all 3 lanes. So it's going well for them. They've definitely toned down aggression, and it's working out well for them.
I drew the quadrant, but then I realized that was too big. I mean, it feels like an eighth of the map is
right.
Basically just their base, and then that small area around the tier 1 mid. That's about it. They just can't leave.
Right. They're desperately trying to hold on to this tier 2, their last tower. And another smoke. So let's see if they can pick someone off with this smoke. There is no CK, though.
They've got to be out of smokes after this. They've so many. No, they still have 2. Really? I guess it has been 35 minutes. It feels like I guess they've been buying them and then sitting on them from the early game. And I mean, hey, they've got some more opportunities if this one doesn't work. But
a little bit of a mistake to not smoke the CK, because they don't actually have any detection. If they run upon if the bounty hunter just dispels their smoke, then they're not going to be able to kill him without the CK there.
Well, I guess they're planning to bait the CK, but with 4 heroes off the map, pretty obvious that this is going on, and VP just going to sit back.
Smoke runs out, and I mean, he has heart. He's not like, they're looking for easy kills right now, not a 3,400 HP with armlet CK, just
not the hero you normally would try to bait.
Right.
It's like if there's a great white shark on the fishing line. That's not something most fish will have any interest in taking a bite out of.
No casual cloak on Lone Druid. He opts for Cuirass on his bear. He's getting very good farm now. After his Radiance, the farm just kicks in, and he's getting a huge gold advantage. Even though he had a little bit of rough start, I think he started off 0-3, but they've managed to secure Trixie's farm pretty well.
I guess the one concern is there's a lot of farm heroes on VP. The Prophet's still slightly ahead of the Lone Druid, but pretty close to him at that. And obviously, Lone Druid's going to do a bit more with that gold generally. But you've also got a Weaver and a Tinker who are very farmed, whereas on the side of Fnatic, it's mainly just the Chaos Knight who's got significant items with the heart and the armlet up.
And almost BKB on Bounty Hunter. He's like 4th most farm, but he's still not in a bad position. Vlad's drums, phase, and almost BKB. Looks like Shadow Demon almost has his 4 staff. That's what I believe he's going for.
This poor Shadow Demon. What a hero Ennis has been for the team. Just taking the bullet time and again.
Right. Just taking those double stuns for the Tinker middle.
Yeah.
Triple stuns sometimes with the Shaker coming to gank.
I mean, the Secret Service should really take a look at this guy.
So another smoke gank, but I mean, VP didn't fall for it first time. Doesn't look like they're going to fall for it this time either. But there's still maybe 20 seconds left on that smoke. So it looks like they're going to try and push this T2 actually.
I feel like I'm watching a different team. Like, VP 10 minutes ago was just running into Fnatic, like, relentlessly being aggressive and giving up a lot of kills. Now it's been like 4 failed smoke ganks from Fnatic in a row. Something along those lines, at least 3. They will start to push mid, and already Fnatic firmly established under the tower. This is the one issue with Tinker. He's a great anti-pusher, but he's got to be there to set up the march. Otherwise, if he tries to set it up too close, Fnatic can pick him off. So they give up the tier 2 mid. They do breach high ground bottom, or top rather. But
yeah, there's going to be some tower on that T3. It's a so-so trade.
In comes an Echo on 3 from Hani out of nowhere. Jams it in. Triple kill for the team. Do they have buyback? Oh, they gotta use it now. What a play from Hani. Oh, man.
Very nice Blink Echo.
Jeez. Wow. That was really smart by Fnatic. They knew VP were gonna try to pick off the stragglers. Tinker was actually, he blinked forward and hexed the Chaos Knight. And then everybody came back in. A lot of teams would just TP away there, but Fnatic fully prepared for that. And it's been those baits that have really been VP's undoing.
Tinker really has to watch his position. He has a blink. He can position himself almost anywhere, and you just can't stand next to the melee against an Earthshaker with blink. You just get caught in blink echo and just die. So he really needs to watch his position so he doesn't give up easy death. His buyback's going to be down for 4 minutes, but it was, I think, worth it. They probably could have taken the T3 if he did not buy back. And Fnatic RC just systematically just taking out all these towers, 5-minute with the gem, and Blink Shaker just ever posing a threat.
And VP just don't want to take a fight right now. There was a point in this game where it was Fnatic that couldn't leave their base. Nice fissure block, keeping everybody away from this tower, keeping the Tinker out of range for a good march that can hit everything. The tower falls, and Fnatic are getting to that point where, you know, I said they needed a pipe, but I guess if your CK's got a heart and an armlet and drums and 3.6k, oh, by the way, Trixie's also got 3.6k, I guess if you get this far, maybe you don't need pipe or mech to push against this team. I have never seen a team push into Tinker with neither of those items, but hey, they're getting so far, maybe they can do it. Now they retreat. Notice how nobody TP's home. They can't. They know they're going to get disrupted and picked off, so instead they all walk back to base. It was Leshrac alone here to TP away. NS will be picked off. Once again, Fnatic just finding these kills, but now it might cost them top lane. CRZ try to TP away. BKB from KSI as he TP's out. They both get out. They pick off one. The tier 3 now down. Just trades all around. Still no Rax claim, but it feels like it's coming soon for someone. I'm not sure who that someone is, but it's coming.
Yeah, VP put them in a very tough position. Oh, wow. Nice blink echo.
Again on 2. Hani is just finding the pickoffs. Can they get an entangled airman? They can.
Wow.
Monster kill. And do they have buyback? Oh, boy.
No buyback.
Tinker dead for a minute. Can they defend this?
It's looking very bad. It's probably going to be a Rax, it looks like, and then maybe a Roshan after with the cheese, too. So, drastic turn of events. So, things are looking very bad for BP right now.
Time for a strategy pause. I'm just kidding. Leshrac, of course, disconnecting. He'll be back soon, but Chaos Knight's up to 5k, and he's got a Phantasm up. This might be 2 lanes of Rax, if not more. Chaos Knight does kill buildings very quickly, and you've got Lone Druid. Two of the better late game just base destroying heroes in the game.
So yeah, again, Tinker really has to watch his position. He just can't be next to another hero like that, setting up easy double, triple echo slams. You know, if Hani finds a position like that, then he's gonna take it and just jump on it the instant he's right next to a hero, just as we saw middle. And you know, both of those have been very, very devastating for VP. If he doesn't get caught in the echoes, then they can't push. And like if he dies, he has to buy back, and then as soon as he's down, you know, they're going to put out a lot of pressure. So things are looking very bad for VP. This Tinker needs to stop dying if possible, and you know, so he can stay alive and try to repel these pushes. This Roshan is going to be a very, very big problem too. I suspect that they will take it after this mid-venture.
And it's going to drop quickly. I honestly think they can. Is there a glyph up? No glyph even. I mean, I really think they can get 2 or 3 lanes of Rax here with the Lone Druid. I mean, who's going to be able to come back to life? Weaver can buy back. It'd be 4 on 5. But VP, something we talked about in the draft, is they don't have any stuns. It's all the Hex. They rely entirely on the Hexes and maybe Disruption to actually lock heroes down. And they can't 5v5 without that Chain Hex. They just don't have as many stuns or as much DPS, I feel. This is looking really bad for VP, a really costly engagement.
Yeah, Fnatic has been very, very smart. Like, they played that mid game very well. Even though Bear had a fairly bad start, you know, they played very, very well in that mid game. They minimized deaths, minimized track gold, and, you know, they did have 2 hexes. So, you know, they kind of minimized deaths from that. It could have been a lot worse for them. But they played very safely, got the gem smoked up, 5-man, you know, just farmed safely. And, you know, now it's starting to pay off.
And it looks like we may have a slightly longer pause, guys, as Leshrac has disconnected from the game again. Apparently the PC is dead. It doesn't look good. The PC is not God. So this is only our first best out of 3. I think it's fair to mention at this point what's going on the rest of today. Of course, I'm LD. I see a lot of people asking who's joining me. This is Merlini. You may have heard of him. We'll be casting Na'Vi versus Empire, your winner bracket finals, a little bit later today. That match was pushed back. It was originally scheduled to kick off in about an hour and 15 minutes from now, but I think now we're looking at around 2 to 2.5 hours delay before that match happens. But that'll be your winner bracket finals. Merlini should be joining for me that as well. That's the best out of 3. Then tomorrow we have the loser bracket finals. All of these series are best out of 3. Then the grand finals, I believe, is best out of 5. I want to say with a 1-game advantage for the winners bracket champion. But yeah, a lot of Starladder coming up.
I hope his computer comes back online. It's always unfortunate when you have these long pauses.
Especially right, like, for Fnatic, they've had so much momentum, and now VP gets a chance to, you know, cool their heads and kind of put things back together. Or hopefully.
Yeah, that mid game was just very, you know, it just went very poorly for VP. They were expecting, they just went balls deep all over the map with the Aegis. They're like, oh yeah, they felt like Superman, but a couple roots here and there, a couple echoes, and the game just completely switched.
There was a point in this game where it felt, I don't want to say inevitable, but close to that for VP. They had pretty much all the outer towers down. They were pushing every single lane. Fnatic had a lone druid who was, what, 0-3? Something along those lines. Just kept on dying, kept on getting picked off, went for an early Midas, and then just was giving up track kills anyway. VP getting 2 Roshans in a row. And oh, how the tides have turned since then. It's just been a complete 180.
Right, look at this difference in Goldern. We see these, like, 2 dips up in favor of Radiant. The first one was just that period where they were just, like, completely just playing way too aggressively. And then the second one was just from those 2 very nice echoes from Hani, just completely catching VP.
So if you're VP at this point, what do you do? You're probably losing mid-Rex and losing Roshan, if not 2 lanes of Rex. What's your game plan?
They pretty much just have to play defensively. Like, they were playing defensively, but the positioning was just very, 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 very bad, and just set up for those echoes, kills. So what they had to do is just spread out and just try and march defend. When Tinker's up, they probably are going to lose 2 racks, I would say, at this point. Maybe 1. Weaver, let's check his buyback status. I mean, they might be able to defend for V5, but it's going to be very tough, especially with that gem on CK. He's nigh impossible to kill at this point without Tinker here to permahex. So, it looks like Fnatic's just going to take mid right now. They'll probably swing bottom with a Phantasm, and then Starladder, just wreaking havoc with his Demolish and AC minus armor on buildings. They're just going to take those 2 racks, swing by Roshan, get an Aegis and Cheese, and it's going to be very, very rough. I would just let that T2 fall if they do decide to push that, and then they just have to, just turtle on that last, just try and hang on to that last rack. That's what it looks like at this point.
All right, it looks like we are ready to get this game underway again. The unpause comes out. Weaver buys back immediately, but remember, it's a 4-on-5. Tinker is dead with no buyback for a good 50 seconds here. Era the first to breach high ground. The Bear close in tow. Assault Caress and Forecast at Illusions. They are fighting through the backdoor regen, but still bringing it down quickly. Look at that Bear and Knight go to work. An army of beasts. It feels like something out of Lord of the Rings, or maybe some C.S. Lewis. They rotate towards the bottom lane. Now looking for 2 lanes of Rax. Do they just try and win the game now? 2 lanes of Rax can be hard to recover from. Meanwhile, KSI counter pushing, going for at least 1 melee Rax of their own. 2 lanes of Rax already claimed. Taker still dead for 15. Can they win this fight without him? The tombstone will drop soon, but NS gonna die to that angry Bear. Gets the kill. Now Airman trying to run away. Some damage under the lone druid, but not too much. Weaver gets caught out. Weaver gets brought down, and he already bought back. He's dead for a while. A couple heroes might die on the side of Fnatic, but they didn't actually get the melee Rex top. This is looking pretty good for them, but they just got to get out safely. A nice fissure blocking some away, as well as stunning quite a few, but Arrow will fall. Virtus Pro with just such a good chasing lineup. No Tail gets away just barely by the skin of his teeth. And now it looks like Earthshaker will escape, and everybody's alive, so I guess pretty successful push for Fnatic.
Very smart of them to not even finish off that range Rex. They might have not been able to get that melee barracks on the right side if they hadn't switched. A lot of teams, they opt for both Rex before they switch, but, very smart of them to just take down 1. And then they forced a couple buybacks by Fnatic. They weren't actually able to get the Roshan. They did take the 2 sets of Rex and force Weaver buyback, but it looks like, Roshan's going to go in favor of VP at this point. Although it looks like they are gravitating towards there. Yes, they are.
Yeah, Fnatic in a pretty commanding position, but this Aegis could get Virtus Pro back into the game, at least give them a ray of hope. It's something they really need as well with the buyback still on cooldown for a few heroes. They are grouped up. I think they're out of smokes at this point, or if they had one, they're just choosing not to use it. Fnatic is going to walk towards the Roshan pit, but do they really want to engage into this? They've got that big echo, but just not in position because Hani wasn't actually there. So they give up the Aegis and the cheese. 2 lanes of Rax was the trade, as well as quite a few buybacks. A quick check if the gold graph tells us a slight lead for VP, but it does seem like it's really Fnatic's game to lose at this point.
That was a very, very important Roshan, actually. I actually think the Aegis would go better on Tinker because, Bounty Hunter can just BKB and cheese, and, if Tinker gets caught in a stun, he's not going to be able to pop his cheese. Notice most of the times he's died to chain stuns from Echo, and Aftershock with Fissure and Enchant Totem. So he's most likely going to be locked down and not going to be able to use that cheese. So I would have swapped that if I were VP, but hopefully we'll see how it turns out. So Smoke Gank from VP. I think they did get the gem though, which is actually a pretty big deal. But they did buy another. It's on Starladder right now. CK actually doesn't even have enough room for it anymore. He has to have a TP scroll in case Furion split pushes.
That's a definite first world problem, but it's one that everyone does have.
So this T2, VP should just not contest this at all. They should just definitely let it fall. Let's try and push out their mid and bottom, which is, both of them have very strong creeps with both melee Rex down. So, it looks like they're just going to let this T2 fall and then probably make a stand at the T3. Definitely make a stand.
Well, if they don't make a stand, then they're losing 3 melee Rexes, and that's something that I don't know if anyone's come back from in recent memory. Pretty damn hard to do.
Oh, Fnatic actually chooses to play it safe and not push this. If they push right now and they win the game, but I don't think they want to take the risk with Furion pushing bottom, and they might actually lose a Rex. They will lose a Rex if they lose this engagement, so...
Well, like you said, they play it safe, they sit back, and I guess they're just gonna, it's become that point in the game where it's actually Fnatic looking for VP to make a mistake, but they're doing it on the enemy side of the map because they have those 2 melee Rexes. This is so crucial to just counter. If we just looked at the creep equilibrium earlier in the game, it was always on Fnatic's side of the river. They never could really get any momentum going. Now, aside from that bottom lane, or aside from that top lane, it's been pretty good to them. They've been able to get into the enemy jungle, get a lane ward up, farm the enemy jungle, even look for pickoffs, and do things like push a lane when the enemy team is 5 alive, which normally you wouldn't be able to do against Tinker and Prophet.
So Furion looks like he's farming his back. He picked up an AC. Actually, very good choice because the majority of Fnatic's damage is physical, barring Echo Slam. But we haven't seen Furion get caught by Echo Slam yet, I believe. So, and he has a BKB anyways. So very good pickup by him. It will mitigate a lot of damage from the massive amount of damage output from Phantasm and Starladder with his AC. So look like Fnatic's pretty much just looking for easy pickoff right now.
Oh, Tinker's gotten spotted out, I think, by the bear. The Fissure will fly. Can they follow this up? He's actually blocked away from the bear, but the cast bolt comes in. Tinker will fall. Does he have buyback? The answer is yes, but not something you want to have to blow. No choice. He's got to buyback now. Like you said, will you actually get to use that cheese if you get chain stun? Even if he did there, was probably going to die anyway, but wasn't able to get it off. And forced to buy back.
VP cannot get picked off like that. Like one more like that, they're gonna lose their top racks, and it's gonna be mega creeps. So if Tinker gets picked off one more time, it's gonna be GG. So he really has to be careful.
It feels like the beauty of VP's lineup was that they could just go anywhere with that. Once that double hex comes up and they have track, they could just kill any hero who's on the map. But that's not really the case anymore. I mean, who can you actually kill? A Chaos Knight nigh unkillable without the entire team being there. Same for the Lone Druid. And, well, not quite the same for the Lone Druid, but he's still very tanky. And the supports they're not moving around on their own. We always see the Leshrac and the Earthshaker sticking together, as well as the Undying, which means no openings for VP, and it blunts the potential of their lineup.
We have a smoke up in 1 minute and 13 seconds. I suspect Fnatic RC is going to try and get a smoke gank, or if they pick off Tinker again, it's over. So they'll probably look for an easy kill with that smoke and then just try and get mega creeps.
It actually tells me they can buy all 3 smokes. I'm not sure if that's a spectator bug, because I'm surprised that they'd have all 3 available at this point. On the side of VP, I guess it's a bug, because both teams have 3 smokes, which, well, doesn't seem right to me. I guess VP hasn't smoked that much.
On mine, it shows Fnatic has 42 seconds left on their smoke, but looking like they're pushing their top. They have to TP back right now, though. The good thing about VP's lineup is that they have very good pushing out potential. You really have to be able to push out your lanes, especially with 2 melee racks down. They have Tinker for that, and they have Furion for that, and they can be back at the fight anytime to defend. So, Fnatic's just looking for opening right now. Tinker, buyback status, 3 minutes on that, so he cannot die in the next 3 minutes, or it's going to be GG. So he has to play a little bit safe. It's really on him to not die because Furion has buyback. Bounty Hunter, he's not crucial to defending pushes. Weaver also probably has buyback at this point too. So it's really on Tinker to not die in the next 3 minutes. If he dies, it's GG. It's just smoking.
It all hangs on in the balance right now. Whoever loses this game will be eliminated. The winner moves on to play tomorrow in the loser bracket finals against the loser of Na'Vi versus Empire. Your winner bracket finals coming up after the series a little bit later today in the evening for those of you in Europe, in the afternoon for those in the States, or even in the morning if you're on the West Coast. But, well, it's still at the point where it could go either way. It seems like Fnatic have a little bit more of a comfort zone. Pretty much everyone's got buyback now. Tinker, like you mentioned, it's still cooling down for another 2 minutes. He's really got to be careful not to get picked off. Weaver just trying to gank the bear, which would be a nice thing to kill off at this point. Weaver here, whose items have not progressed as much as others, has the Lincoln Sphere, has the MKB, but just looking for most likely that BKB now if he goes for it. He won't have buyback. Fnatic are smoke ganking the enemy base while this happens, though. Maybe just looking to get that quick late of Rax. Can they do it? There is a glyph up. They don't have creeps in the base, so this will be a backdoor attempt, but they have so much damage. It's dropping quickly. Virtus.Pro's arrived, but will it be in time to actually stop this? The tower's gonna fall. Fnatic just want to brute force their way to the victory here. The melee Rex gonna fall as well, and remember, they mostly have buybacks. Arrow's gonna pop the BKB. 3 lanes of melee Rex down. Meanwhile, in the top lane, the creeps are pushing in. The fight continues as we see the bear getting hexed up, but can they actually bring it down? Where's that physical damage? Still, nobody dies. 10 heroes alive. Actually, it looks like the Bounty Hunter just fought back. Now the Earthshaker getting picked off. Man mode from KSI. Once Era as well. This will be a track kill. No. Armlet toggles to survive that one. Trixie tried to TP away. Fnatic in a headlong retreat. The Gambit worked to a certain extent. They got the Rax, but is it going to be sufficient to win the game? Or can VP just go 5 mid? It looks like everybody's got buyback or is using it now. So they smoke gank the melee Rax. Now the throne with the tier 4s exposed. Looks pretty good for Fnatic.
Let's see. Aegis just expired. Tinker used cheese, so you know it's 2.5 minutes. It looks like until Roshan. It's going to be very, very important as well. I think. Did no mega creeps yet though. They only have 2 racks surviving, both in different lanes, both range barracks. VP can still come back at this point, although it's going to be an uphill battle. Tinker does have buyback. 13 seconds. It's pretty much off cooldown right now. He opted for Yules, which is pretty good. He needs some sort of, you know, he just needed more items. He had a lot of farm. He had early bots, and he got a decently okay sheep even after dying a few times. But you know, slick-slotted Tinker is just a beast to deal with late game, and he's only pretty much 4-slotted right now.
Yeah, you'd love to see something like that Shiva's, maybe the Manta style, and at least a bit away from those next set of items. It's funny, Virtus.Pro, 3 melee racks down, yet all the lanes seem to be pushing out. This is...
Oh, we see a Rapier on Furion. Divine Rapier on Furion right now with 2,700 gold too. He is, you know, he does a lot of damage. 500 damage with, you know, a lot of attack speed from AC and Midas.
I mean, it's something they needed too, right? Like we saw in a couple of the fights before that, they just couldn't bring down the Chaos Knight. Or even the Lone Druid Bear was taking a while to kill, but with this Prophet, they really have to focus him. He's by far their biggest damage dealer at this point in the game. This is dangerous. If he loses that Rapier, that's got to be it. Just such a huge gold swing. The fight kicks off mid. It's going to be an immediate gank on the Trixie. Remember, a lot of Fnatic's buybacks are on cooldown, but I don't know if Trixie's the one you want to focus. He's not dying. Echo comes in. KSI is about to drop a Divine Rapier on the floor. The Bear picks it up. Lone Druid's got it on his hero, but is that going to be sufficient? Immediate buyback for the Prophet. Airman's trapped. Airman can't escape, but in fact, he's being kept safe. No, he gets probably picked off. He will fall. 3 heroes dead in a matter of seconds for VP. And the Prophet buys back, but to what end? Just not... Oh, this is going to be 4 heroes dead. Uh-oh. Wow. That looks to be...
What a block.
Is that game? It looks to be.
It looks to be with that Rapier. They can just throw it in at this point. They have no resistance. Tinker has no money. He just bought a BKB, which didn't save him from anything. They have Bashers, they have Root to stop the BKB TP.
Yeah, I feel like he shouldn't have been going in first there, but somehow he found himself in the middle of the Lone Druid, the Chaos Knight, who were just mauling him to pieces, and, well, maybe not the fight he was hoping for, looking for that backstab, but you see how tanky Lone Druid is with that Assault Curse, as well as the Heaven's Halberd, and he doesn't have an MKB, so the Prophet was missing a lot of those auto attacks. even salving up at the base every last bit, every last ounce of energy to try and survive. Weaver chases with all he's worth. That bug can move, but can he kill is the question. All 3 ranged racks will fall, and it's now Mega Creeps for Fnatic. Then nobody is buyback. Whoever dies is going to be dead. 10 heroes without buyback in a 53-minute game. Not something you see too often. Era BKBs, TPs to safety. Who else will get out? Gem on the floor, but that Gem not really that important right now. The chase on to Fly. Fly dropping low. Still everybody alive for Fnatic. They lose the Leshrac, not the biggest loss in the world. They did lose Rack's top lane while this was happening, but 1 lane of Racks against Megas, even with Tinker Profit, has to be a huge advantage for Fnatic. Or for VP at this point. And
that was very unlucky by Weaver. He was trying to attack a Lone Druid who was TPing away, did not get any MKV procs, which would have given them a rapier. So very unfortunate random RNG by him.
And he's got the MKB, so the evasion doesn't even come into play there. You still have that chance to get the bashes. Ugh, it hurts, man.
Wow, they're pushing with Megas, or against Megas. Wow. This is what a game.
Nobody's got buyback. This is whoever dies is actually dead, which is frankly a refreshing change for some late game Dota. I'm excited to see how this one shakes out. There's still a chance.
I wonder if this Raver is gonna change hands again.
It's a hot potato, man. It probably will. It's still up on Trixie for the moment. KSI pushing that bottom lane. Just the one issue for VP. I like what they're doing though. They've got the 2 global heroes on the side lanes. They've got the rest mid. The 2 global heroes can look to join at any moment. They get the tier 2, but that really doesn't mean a whole lot at this point. It's all about that high ground. The buybacks start to come back. Earthshaker's got one. Bounty Hunter's got one. It's ever so important at this late stage of the game. Fissure on 2. It's that Echo again. It's always Hani who's winning these big fights, and now the Yule Scepter throwing the Shadow Demon up in the air, but they only got the 1 kill. Is it sufficient? Bounty Hunter able to escape, but it's Shadow Demon. It looks to be in a lot of trouble. He's going to drop. Weaver running in the middle of this fight, but how much damage can he actually do? The GGs come out. The Lone Druid, they just couldn't bring him down, and now he's killing everyone with that Divine Rapier. Ultra kill for him. Rampage for the Chaos Knight, not for the Lone Druid. Wow. GG Nature's Prophet. That's one way to put it.
Wow.
Brutal.
What a game.
Not often you see a team fall behind that early to a global lineup and turn it around, but by golly, Fnatic did it.
Yeah, they played very, very, very smartly in that mid game. Like they had a very rough start and they played very systematically and just trying to minimize deaths and maximize farm. And I'm very surprised that they came back. Those very well-positioned echoes by Hani really, really changed the game for them. And, just picking off Tinker, I think 3 times, twice to blink echo, and 1 time he was just trying to push out middle. So those were very, very costly for VP.
Wow, what a way for this series to end. Not a whole lot to add to that. 56-minute game. It felt like 3 games in one, just the amount of momentum shifts. In the end, Fnatic take it. They are, in a sense, perhaps not the hometown favorites, as this is a tournament happening over in Eastern Europe, but nonetheless, the Western European challengers move on into your lower bracket finals. Can they make it into the grand finals? We'll find out tomorrow. For now, we will put Fnatic aside. They get a day to rest and prepare. They'll be able to watch Na'Vi versus Empire. That is the next series coming up. It will be a best out of 3. The winner guaranteed a top 2 finish in Starladder, which means a significantly higher amount of prize money, as well as that inside track to win the tournament in the grand finals and take home first place. This is Starladder Season 4, your last major North American European event of the year of 2012. New Year's is coming soon. I'm LD, of course, as joined here today by Merlini. Huge thanks to you, Merlini, for joining me for the cast. Any shout-outs, anything you want to plug?
I stream all the time, so if you want to check out my stream, it's twitch.tv.merlinidota, and that's about it. I'll be here for the next best of 3 with LD.
Yeah, stay tuned for that, guys. That'll be a real treat to cast. Merlini, thanks for joining me. Guys, we'll be back. I think it's going to be an hour and a half or maybe 2 hours. I will let you know exactly when that next best out of 3 starts. I know it's been pushed back because Starladder has some other games besides Dota that are happening. I think they want to have that winter bracket finals on the main stage. So there may be a delay, but we will have that series coming up for you a bit later today. Thank you again for tuning in. For now, this is LD and Merlini signing off.